Hey, Christine here. I just wanted to let you know you can still become a founding member of Menopause Meal Plans. I gotta tell you, ladies that are joining the club are so great, so fun, and they're loving the meals. If you want more information, just go to emptynestkitchen.com and you can find it all there. Now, let's join the episode.
Welcome to the Empty Nest Kitchen, where we're finding fun in the kitchen now that the kids have flown the coop. I'm Christine Van Bloom, a cooking teacher with over 25 years of experience, here to show you tips, tricks, and joy in your kitchen, all while trying something new. Let's get cooking.
Oh, happy day. I am always so thrilled to have a guest for our 4 listeners. But today, boy, do I have another ray of sunshine here. I'm so pleased to welcome a fellow gal about town. Say hello to Jen Gerlock from Pursuit of It All. Hey, Jen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? And I should ask, do you want to go by Jen or Jennifer?
Oh, Jen is for people who know me. Jennifer is, if we haven't gotten past the formality or if I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Yes. Christine Marie. All day. And I was never Christine Marie. And I was always Chris. And then there are so many Chris's in the world that they had to start calling me Christine because I worked with all these men named Chris. So I always try to ask, but I think Christine Van Bloom sounds so much more trustful.
Oh, it
right?
is your alter ego. For sure.
Yeah. Well, don't I wish. I'm going to quote my grandma, tickled that you're here today. And I wanted to talk to you because we have known each other for a long time. And we're not besties, we're acquaintances, but
Yeah.
we catch a vibe.
Yeah.
We catch a
It's true.
vibe, right? For a long time. And I have admired you for just forever. And you have this super fun website, what you do, called Pursuit of It All. Tell everybody how they can pursue it all.
Oh my gosh. Well, that actually started out as a collaboration between me and 3 other gals. And we just wanted somewhere where we like the girlfriend vibe, right? So, your friends and what they recommend and what they're interested in. And we wanted a place to just pursue anything we wanted. Anything. It didn't matter. Like, are you interested in this? I am. Would you like to geek out on that? Absolutely. And it gave us an opportunity to really be a little journalistic and go on adventures together. And, over the years, they've gone on to different projects, but I just could not let this go. And I'm just really digging into it now. But, it's that thing. You can't let it go. That passion.
You can't let it go. That's how I was with Empty Nest Kitchen. I've had it for years and I was like, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. And sometimes it takes a little something to push you into that, right?
100%. That's true.
Yeah. Because you're kind of like right now, you're a little bit of the side hustle queen because you finally have some time to do this kind of thing.
I know. Well, I've held on to this for a while. I mean, I've been writing many, many years, and I've had other, websites or blogs or projects. I've had blogs on media outlets and things like that, but I just couldn't write. In recent years, I had, a lot of demands on me. I just wasn't feeling very creative. I wanted to, again, that's why I wouldn't let it go. Absolutely wouldn't let it go. But now I'm finally in a space where slowly and surely it's just flowing. And I do it for fun. I do have fun opportunities that come out of it, but it's my outlet and I love it.
It is. Writing is a thing, right? When you like to do it, it just flows. But if you have to do it and you don't want to,
no way.
It's the worst. Is the worst. The writer's block and all the things I can figure out to do with my life that are not writing whatever that specific thing is.
100%.
100%. All right. So you had the reason that I really wanted to have you on is because my 4 listeners are empty nest ladies. And I know you have 2 really fantastic boys. I kind of have a mom crush on your boys.
Aww.
right?
Yeah.
They're the sweetest. They are grown men, which is crazy. But I know you're an empty nester and you have recently gone through kind of a big life transition. And I have found that the ladies who are listening are a lot of times going through these transitions as well. And you had what I would call kind of a big job,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Titles, reflecting on. Yeah.
Fancy titles and the whole shebang. And you gave up the fancy job.
I did.
And that's a bold move.
Yeah.
Right?
It was that I gave myself my own life shakeup. It was true.
Yeah.
It was really true. I had all the titles I'd ever wanted. You know, my 25-year-old self would be patting me on the back right now. Well, actually, no, she would probably be very confused right now because I just did everything that she would never do. But yeah, so I just came to a point, you know, there was a lot going on in my life. A couple of things happened along the way, health issues with a parent, just a lot of things going on. I started to really suffer through some exhaustion and burnout. And I you know, I know it's a word. A lot of people do it. And I winced. I winced when my doctor was like, you know what is happening here, don't you? And I was like, no, because I didn't want to admit that. And so I just made a major life shift at a period of time where, for all intents and purposes, I would say that I was doing super well. I was checking all the boxes. Like the projects that I was working on were incredible and fun and just filled with just the best humans, but I couldn't personally, I wasn't making it through. I wasn't thriving the way that incredible humans are. So all these things combined led me to leaving a job that I really loved with people I really loved for something completely different, unknown. So, you know, that's where I am now.
Yeah. And it's so funny because whenever you do a change like that, and I was at a job as well, a nonprofit agency in the town that we're in, and I loved the people. The people were just so ding dang good. I mean, gracious. And the work was super rewarding and all of that. But you get those things, the health challenges, the parent challenges. Nothing will set you off like a sick mom.
No.
Let me tell you that, right? And then people always want the gossip. People want the hot gossip. You know, what? Did you see so and so? Oh my God. And it's so funny. It's just, I personally think that once you hit 50, it is like the gloves are off and it's just, you have to figure out what's going to make your life the life you want to lead.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that's so true. You know, I was also nonprofit, also loved the people, the committees I was on, everything that came from that. But, you know, I found myself, what kicked it all off, honestly, was I got some blood work back. Normal, you know, a routine type of appointment. But I got some blood work back that flagged me for a metabolic syndrome, which I know a lot about because my husband had metabolic syndrome and he had suffered a heart attack very young and triple bypass surgery as a result. And they flagged him as that. And they said, whenever that is present, all of these things could happen. So I got diagnosed with that. Then my blood work came back and it was a scooch from pre-diabetic. I mean, like we're talking this, a scooch. And and then the doctor was, you know, she was, you know, giving me the what for, and she was very serious. And she started saying to me things like, okay, what can you change in your life? We need to go through this because you're suffering from, like, your cortisol levels are crazy. You are very, very stressed. Describe to me a typical week, month. You know, we went through all of these things and she asked me what I could change. And I had to change it. And so I started really thinking about that. And so I came to the conclusion at that point that I had to really kind of let go of personal things. Couldn't change my job, couldn't change my family obligation, but I had to let go, you know, the personal fun stuff. So like meeting with friends and all the extracurriculars because I had to go and like do a deep dive on my health. So I did that, which that translates into like like you call your friends when you can, but you don't do things, right? So it's professional obligation only. And then my mom got sick, right? So I was making some headway, couple of months, right? I was making some headway, but I was lonely. And I saw people during the day, but I was not seeing the people that I wanted to, in the manner that I wanted to, my sister, people like that, And then my mom got sick. And that was like a very dramatic, multi-month event, which has some things after it that, flare back up. And we almost lost her. Straight up. Almost lost her a couple of times. She was, and it was very dramatic and I had to leave. And my work was wonderful about it. But you put the two together. And then a couple of months later, I just started realizing, well, gosh, I did really well, lost some weight, changed some numbers, like really, really good. But to keep it, I couldn't bring friends back. And that's a terrible realization.
It's taking the fun.
Yeah.
It's taking the fun out of the life. Not that the job isn't fun, because of course the job, you love the job, right? But now you're sacrificing the fun parts of living. It's like you're only eating the salad, but you don't get the dressing or the cheese or the croutons. You've only got lettuce.
And I like cheese. And I like cheese.
I like cheese.
But I really had to think about it. I have to say, one thing about me is like most of my life, this is probably something I should have explored in therapy, but most of my life, my job has like sort of defined me. And I know that's
absolutely.
I watched Working Girl way too much when I was growing up. Like,
that movie is the reason I moved to New York City. Not a joke. That was entirely, I can recite every line. I love it. I think it's still saved on the DVR.
Yeah, I have to tell you, and this just as an aside, I still have an article that I clipped out of like Vogue or something like that back then that talked about the like the subtle differences between the working girls and the executive women. And I clipped it and I kept it and I still have it. It's hilarious. But anyway, that's enough of that. Hilarious. But yeah, so I just had to really think about it. And I had to, who would I be without the title and the thing that I was doing and the projects I was working on, and I had to be very strategic about it. I mean, I'm a happy-go-lucky person, but I'm pretty strategic. And so I had to give myself, okay, worst case scenario, you lose 80% or 90% of the people or the things you enjoy. You go into a job that's not as fulfilling, like I did all the things in my head. And so I was really considering that. And then as life happens, things happen for a reason. A job just kind of fell-ish a bit in my lap. Not that I didn't have to interview and do all the things for it, but it just kind of came across my purview at a time where I was thinking about really heavy considerations. And I started to realize that things were not going to change in my professional life for a significant amount of time. So, I decided to switch careers at the weirdest, most advanced, like most at the time of my life, it didn't make sense. But
I think it makes perfect sense because I think you and I are not coasters, right? We don't, and I'm not saying your job, you could not coast in that job, right? But there is a comfort to being in a position for a long time.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about we're getting pensions at the end of these jobs, right? We are definitely not talking about that. But the burnout comes, right? And you really have to dig in and look at it and decide where you're going. And for me, I think it's fun. I think these new challenges, people are kind of like, you're doing what? And it's like, because why not? I don't ever want to not challenge myself.
It's true. I mean, you get bored is not the right word, but you get complacent. You're doing the same thing. Or I thrive with new challenges. Like that's where I want to be.
Me too.
And we were talking a little bit earlier, and I mentioned that I really was trying to be disappointed in myself for this. I was really trying to like bring all those emotions up, like you're disappointing the community, you're disappointing this person, and I really felt like this is just such a cop out or something. But I've decided that it's actually the bravest thing I've ever done in my life.
It is the bravest thing. And I will tell you this. The easy thing is to stay in the position, even if it's a hard driving position where you have a ton of responsibility, but not only grasping the unknown, but, ripping off your goggles, throwing your bathing suit to the side and diving in, all cannonball. That is so brave. It's something I really admire. I don't know if you had a listen to the episode I did a couple of weeks back with Elizabeth Cromwell. And she, next time I'm going to get her to really dig in on there. But she kind of quit her big job and took a year to kind of give herself a sabbatical. And the fact that you've gone into another job now, I think that's awesome. I think that's so
Would
good.
you would hear some unintended consequences of that?
Always.
Yes. Okay, so since doing that, and my gut, feels good. Like there's no bad feeling. Like I know I made the right decision for me, for now.
Yes.
I have done things that I wouldn't have done before. We're talking like adventure type situations, like just the hiking and climbing and taking rides up mountains that terrified me. Like I'm doing different things than I did before. So it's had some unintended consequences.
So do you feel more open and more free and maybe more like who you really are at this phase in your life?
I do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was a me thing, if I was just trying to fit myself into a mold that I thought I had to be in. Because I can't tell you that anybody was like, ma'am, you need to be more or less. Make less is usually what they tell you. But I feel like I don't need to be less. And I actually came into the new position and into this new writing life as whatever I want to be. Like piercings, tattoos, whatever. Like nothing's off the table. Whereas I would tell you that a year ago, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I totally hear this. When I took this job for the nonprofit, I didn't realize, like, I'm a big personality. You're a big personality. We're both, and I didn't realize how much I was tamping it down because I really respected the crew that was there, right? So I didn't want to come in as me. And it wasn't an intentional thing. And it wasn't until, I'd been out of the place for 6-7 months and I ran into someone and she went, "Oh my gosh, you're fun." And I was like, and she was like, "I had no idea you were this much fun." And I was like, I never was, because they were so deeply entrenched there and they knew the business so well. I didn't want to, be me.
You were less.
I wanted to fit in to what they needed. Right. And you feel the same way?
Oh, yeah, I felt the same way. When I was running the leadership program there, which, by the way, who gave me that?
Yes, that is class of 2008. Best class ever, just so you know, 1,000 years ago. But and for you guys who are not in this area and have no idea who we are, it's a program that's run through the county. And because it's just so special.
It is. It's actually run through the Chamber of Commerce, the County Chamber of Commerce. It is Leadership Frederick County, which is the county that we're in. There's leadership programs all over the United States, and they're run by sometimes they're on their own, sometimes they're in conjunction with with the chamber. And then you lead this cohort of people. Ours was specifically 50 and under-ish. And you lead this cohort of people through just this incredible experiential journey. And that is what I loved it. I loved my experience, and I loved being the one who had the fancy title, the executive director title.
Yeah.
But
who doesn't love a fancy title?
I'm just saying.
Right? I'm a sucker. I know. Like, we're going to pay you less, but we're going to call you this. Okay.
Absolutely. Can you embroider it on my shirt? But you know what I did? It's interesting now that I'm talking to you, I'm just thinking about this, is I had more nightmares during my time running that program. It was the most fun, but my nightmares revolved around saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing. Isn't that funny?
It can be really delicate.
Yes. And I still to this day, well, not anymore. It doesn't make me wince anymore. But do you ever have like those times when you're like, oh, yeesh, you sort of secondhand, you're embarrassed for yourself and nobody remembers it, but you do. And so that was huge because again, I was trying to be appropriate and lead it in the way that, the expectations were. Now I don't have that. And I'm just sort of started this new phase of my life differently. I'm coming into it really differently and I am who I am. This is me. This is my personality. It's very different. It's really freeing. And I hear a lot of people talk about that. Like, I don't care. Elizabeth Cromwell, as a matter of fact, she did say that in your podcast. She said that she has a very different level of caring. She said it much more eloquent, but the things she cares about now, the expectations now are very different than maybe when we were in our 20s and 30s.
Oh my gosh, I hope so. Like, who was she? Who was she back then? Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
I know. It's true.
I'm so glad I don't really know her anymore because I don't think we get along really.
Have you ever thought of one time, this is, one of the things I actually read, someone wrote, have you ever thought like if you could go back and tell like 20-year-old you some things, like what advice would you give 20 or 25, whatever that might be?
Yeah.
What advice would you give yourself? Like I think about that a lot.
I just did this. Really? I just did this because I had seen it a couple of months ago as a trend, a trend online where 20-somethings were asking 50 plus a question, and it was about things they just wanted to know. It was so wholesome. And it wasn't jerky and all of that. And it was so wholesome and so uplifting that I sent an email out and I asked people to send me things. And I shared them on social media. And the overwhelming thing, I mean, there was always the do not date that guy. You think you want to date that guy, don't date that guy, right? There's always that. But a lot of it was, you don't have to be so uptight about everything. You can relax about things. You need to be kind to yourself. And these were the things that the 50 plus ladies were telling the other people, and take care of your body. That was a really good one. It's so much easier.
Yeah, that's true. It took me, now that I'm just thinking about this as we're talking, I wanted to get my nose pierced when I was in my 30s, maybe 20, 30s. Anyway, I met someone. I thought she was super cool. I loved her whole vibe. She was very effortless. She was very carefree. She was very herself. I was drawn to that, but I didn't let myself, like I'm drawn to people who are very much themselves, but I would like tamper my own personality down. And I wanted it. And it took me 15 years or something ludicrous, maybe 10 to do it. And I've had my nose pierced for some time now. And people even say to me sometimes, oh, I never even noticed. I was afraid that I would lose business or that I wouldn't be highly regarded. I don't know. Insert whatever here. I was really afraid of that. And so I would kind of go back and give young Jen a little bit more than that, but I would definitely tell her to people are not as concerned as you think.
Yeah. I just went in May and got my cartilage pierced and a second hole in each ear. And I was like, oh, I feel so uncomfortable. Look at me. Nobody notices. Nobody cares.
So funny story. What is it about us? Because I got 3 piercings in one ear. So you can't see them because I happen to have, usually my hair is covered them, right? A lot of times I'll flip my hair back behind my ear. So I have more piercings than tattoos, which is so funny. Isn't
that so funny?
I just got them done.
Oh, you really did?
Like last year. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It hurts so much. The cartilage hurts so much. It hurts so much. It's ridiculous.
I went by myself. I was like, I was going to go with someone. I went by myself. I walked in, this very tattooed, very pierced man, much younger than me. And it was just middle of the day. I took a day off randomly because I had some PTO to burn. And I walked in there and I had gotten my tattoo there and I had got my nose pierced there like years before. And he said to me, he gave me a certain type of earring because he said, you can reuse them for your next piercing. And I was looking at him like, I was like, what else do you think I'm going to get pierced, buddy?
What are we doing?
I guess you must have seen something in me like, she'll be back. Just going through it. Give her the earrings that she can use anywhere else.
So funny. That's so funny. No, I am like, I would love to do something. No, it hurt. It hurt. And I'm like kind of gearing up for a tattoo right now because I don't have any. You have a couple, right?
I only have one. And do you know which one I chose? It's on my wrist and it's actually facing the wrong way, according to the tattoo guy. He was a little confused, but it's facing so I can read it. And all it says is, you can.
Oh, stop.
Stop,
you little motivational guru.
See, I did it. But you want to hear something funny? You know when I did that? I did that when I was going through it. When I was prior to like the realization and the doctor saying, listen, this is classic burnout and exhaustion and la, 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 la. I was feeling it. But I didn't know what it was. I was just like, I can do hard things. Like, what is going on with me? I can do hard things. I went through COVID, blah, 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 all these things. So I just felt like I liked that message and so I oriented it so it's facing me. But yeah, that's.
Are you a mantra girly?
Well, I don't know. What do you mean by mantra?
Well, so I am super skeptical about, I don't know, everything.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a real hard case. I'm a Virgo, right? So it totally makes sense. But, I know people that are like, I say the mantras and I say, remember in the Help where she says,
use
I forget,
kind,
but it's like,
use kind, use important, use
important.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And, that just gave me goosebumps right there. But the meditations and the mantras and I'm dipping a toe. I'm dipping a toe. I'm like, what does it hurt? Nobody's around, right? Nobody's around. And I'm like, I'm manifesting. I'm
open to it. I've just never been like a woo-woo kind of person. But you're right.
Neither
you're right. I am a little bit more than I have been in the past. So
yeah,
I would say that, a little bit more than in the past, but not to the point where I'm like, that's so cliche, or like, if I start to like roll my eyes at myself, that's just.
Yes. I have a Peloton and I know you can tell by looking at me, but I love the darn Peloton and they have all sorts of workouts. And one of the things they do have are meditations. And I think that people use meditations when they want to keep their streak going. So it counts as something. But it's totally cheating the system. I don't do that. I would never. But they have like sleep meditations. And they I call it the tinkle music. It's like tinkle, and they're talking to you like this. Their voices sound like butter and honey and all this thing. And I'm like, out I'm like sleep meditations are my thing. I love a sleep meditation.
That I can get on board with. But I usually feel very uncomfortable when I'm in if I'm trying yoga, because I don't really, I'll do it and then won't do it forever. And then I'm back to trying it again. And then I don't know anything about it. And then they're saying things like breathe in, center, and find your reach out, or whatever they're saying that seems a little like I get uncomfortable with that. I flow with it, but I'm like, oh, what are we talking about here? So I'm very Generation X, right? I'm very, sarcastic, very I got that dark humor situation going on. I love a good murder, serial killer podge.
I'm listening. Right now I'm behind the times. I'm listening to Scamanda, and because I know they're doing a series or something with it. So I was like, I'm just going to listen to the podcast because I love a good podcast. But my husband and I have listened to some murder things when we're driving back and forth to the city, and we're like, okay, I need a break. I need some, flowers. I need to listen to some poppy music. No more murder. So it's so funny. Do you have a favorite podcast that you listen to?
I listen to many, but mostly So I do happen to listen to a whole bunch of like self-help-ish type ones, but
all day.
But then I need not unlike you, except the opposite. Then I need a break. Just like, don't think. That's more like,
I know.
Pop culture, culture.
Sometimes don't you listen to, and I love business podcasts, like rural businesses.
Yes.
I love them. I totally love them. But sometimes aren't you like, well, I totally suck. So you tell them to suck with me. Right.
Sometimes I'm like, well, that's a bit much. So we're not like, just take a nap, man.
Gen X. That is Gen X right there. Just take a nap. You'll be fine.
Oh my God, yeah.
You'll be fine. So you've made these big changes, right? And you're really embracing it. And I've met your husband several times. He is much like your sons, terrible person.
Yeah, awful.
Just super, like, I think we both kind of hit the jackpot with men who love and really support us as we go through our stuff, right? So you are really feet first now and have the time to pursue, no pun intended,
you did that.
but pursue these other interests. And I love it. This is where I'm going to put you on the spot a little. And if you guys can see your face, it just got really concerned. But let's say that someone was listening, right? And they're in their 50s and their kids maybe they're still living at home, but they're adult, they're handling their stuff. And they feel, we know the burnout thing. What's a piece of advice? What's something that you would tell someone who is stuck? And maybe they, I think at our age, it's too long to say just work to retirement, right? That's a long time. So what do you say to someone who's like, I feel really stuck?
But just a little trite, but like I finally came to the conclusion that I'm responsible for my own happiness. And we have wonderful spouses. We have wonderful children, but you're born alone, you die alone, and you are honestly responsible for you. They're not in your head. They mean well. They don't know truly what makes you happy or what makes you, like, gives you a spark, gives you a little fairy dust. That reminds me of my mom. They don't know that. And so you got to stop relying on other people, if you are, to make you happy, and you're responsible for your own existence. We're all, as women who have children or even not, we're used to giving. And that was part of my hesitation to make any changes in my life. I felt like I was letting 1,000 people down. Complete strangers, people that maybe I wouldn't see again, who I loved, and I wanted. They were in my life for a season, but like you're responsible for you. No one's coming to like save you from that, and to just like stop worrying so much about what other people think. Maybe people don't have that concern as much as I did, but I did. I will tell you, people pleaser, 100%. Always got in my head what other people are saying, and they're not saying it. Like I'm making it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just feel like I don't even know if that really answered your question, but I just got to a point where I started when I had a really heart-to-heart talk with myself, like what really will make me happy, and it's not stupid, and it's not. But when is it time for you? Because we're not getting any younger. Like when is it? When you really think about it, when is it time for you to do anything? To get the pumpkin spice latte that's $5 as opposed to, saving your money to give the kid the notebook they want or whatever that is. I don't know. It's just, that's the stage I'm in. Did that answer your question at all?
Oh my gosh, 100%. Because I think you're right. I think that Gen X women are built on, sure, we're tough and we're sarcastic and all of that, but we walk that line between our moms who couldn't have a credit card, right? Who couldn't rent an apartment on their own. And, our kids I have a 25-year-old daughter who is going to free the world, I think, who's just out there and going. And we're firmly in the middle of that. I think we're really still built on service. It's one of the reasons I love this Gen Z generation. I'm mildly obsessed with them because I think they're our only hope,
Right.
because they're not going to take it. And we took it,
Yeah.
right? I'm sure you had some creepy guy in an office, being creepy, and maybe he didn't do anything, but he was just creepy, right? We all had to deal with that, getting cornered in the walk-in, whatever. It just was a factor of dealing with it. These young ladies will cut you. And I love it. It's going to be verbally, but you would wish it was with an actual knife, because I admire them. And, I try to have instilled that in my own daughter and my own kids. But yeah, I think you're totally right. I think that, I love my family. I love doing stuff for my family. It gives me total joy to help out and run the car to get the emissions tested, because I've got the time. I can do that, or, make this special dinner or something. And I think you're right. I think it's kind of like, if not now, when?
It's exactly if not now, when. And we always think we have more time. We always think we have more time. And it's sad that it takes like someone's passing or a tragedy to shake us a little bit from that. I'm just lucky that my mom recovered in the way that she recovered and whatnot. That was my little wake-up call. But we always think we have more time. And there was a news story recently, and I'm going to butcher it. There was a news story about a woman who passed away at her desk. Did you hear this? Not her desk, and they didn't even know. On for like 4 days. Something, ma'am, yes. And it's because, there were like remote work situations and things like that. But she would, she never, what if she never did anything? Because she was waiting for that retirement. And she was just busting her hump at her job. I think that's why I like this new generation. I went through a period of time where I was like, sort of scoffing at them, like, we just don't want to work.
Of course.
The whole thing. Like I wasn't that far, but I was like looking at them a little bit like, what's going on over there? But now I've had some great coworkers who have really taught me boundaries. Boundaries are good.
Boundaries. And listen, they're not perfect. Bless their hearts. They're not perfect. But I really appreciate their boundaries. I really appreciate where they are, what they're doing, and how they stand up for themselves. I just think it's fantastic.
I will say, I think it's the Gen Z of it all, and reading things online where they're like, I don't need to have to kill myself for that. That those type of conversations going around that actually gave me the mindset of, I don't need that. I can give that up because I don't need that. I don't need to kill myself. I don't need to, I'll still do excellent work. I'll still push myself. But I really do think I was influenced by my younger coworkers and colleagues and, discussions online that actually gave me a little bit of that courage to be in the same mindset and kind of give back to me.
Give back to me. I think that's the title of the episode now. Jen Gerlock gives back to me. So I love it. I love it. All right. What's something you're really looking forward to?
Well, so gosh, I have some, trips, of course, anybody at this say we want to have some trips and things like that, but really looking forward to I'm really looking forward to, I hate to say this, but I have one friend who's going to call me on it. She likes to joke and add to my bucket list all the time, stuff that I would never do. And she puts them on my bucket list. I try to tell her that's not how it works. You don't put things on other people's bucket list, but she does. But I'm looking forward to stretching my wings more and doing things more outside of my comfort zone. Whether that's writing for the website, I have some ideas about really making myself uncomfortable to do things that I would never do, and then writing about that just for the sake of encouraging other people. But I think it's just, I'm looking forward to doing things that I either was too scared to do or couldn't because of my life constraints at the time. And anytime someone says someone might say, Jen Gerlock did that. Like, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that keep them guessing.
Yeah. I don't know what
Right?
that means, but yeah. I mean,
It's kind of like it's finally time to live for yourself.
for my real self.
Yeah. For your real self. Isn't that fun?
It really is.
How lucky are
I
we?
know. It's good.
Right? Okay, so the whole idea of the Empty Nest Kitchen podcast, it's supposed to be like we're sitting around my kitchen table. And we kind of are because I'm at my dining room table right now. But I always like to bring a little food into it.
Okay.
So, some cheese. I am like ratatouille all the way.
Yes,
baby.
ma'am.
Give me all the cheese. What are you eating cheese-wise?
Okay. You are going to laugh at this. It's a very interesting tie-in because Miss Christine Van Bloom came to my house and we did a cooking class here at my house with my lovely sons and my husband. And we have not stopped talking about it. Do you know that I bought all of the ingredients for French onion soup 2 days ago and we're making it tomorrow. And that has an excessive amount of cheese made by me.
Does. Gruyere cheese. We love
That's
it.
true.
That's so good. I have to say the thing I took away from that, a lot of times you go and you do a class, right? I've gone and done classes in people's homes for a long time. And most of the time, they're really awesome and they're super fun. But I have to say, I was so blown away. I don't know if I told you this or not. Yeah, I did. But with how loving your husband, of course, but your sons were, because you're a boy mom.
I am. No,
right?
boy.
And I didn't feel like I wanted to rush out of there. I didn't feel like my feet hurt. It's time to go home. It was such a warm and loving environment. Mm-hmm. And it was really sweet. Like, as the person who got to walk into that situation, that was really fun for me.
They talk about it to this day. And we bought all sorts of, pots and things. And we've made, the breads and stuff. And now they want to do more ever since then. And they just loved it. It gave them permission. Like, you have a way of teaching. You gave them a lot of permission to mess up. And that was really important. Yeah. Just play with it. It's not, it's not about, you're not doing it wrong. Just doing it. It's like, it's not, you didn't touch it 90 degrees to the right and now it's all ruined. They took a lot out of it. It was really fun. It was a really fun. Like, it was fun for not just a cooking lesson, for like a life lesson, right? Just do it. You don't be scared of it. Or just play. If it goes wrong, it's fine. We'll we can recalibrate. We can, we'll throw it away. What you even said that we'll throw it away and eat something else. That's fine.
Yeah. My thing is it's a meal, not a mortgage. Yes. Right. And I just picked up, I'm teaching a baking class at the local community college. And it came about, it was like 2 weeks from, would you be interested to doing this, to kids sitting in my classroom. And because of that, I have a little tiny class. And today we made chocolate eclairs. Huh. And let me tell you, I can knock the bananas out with chocolate eclair. I could make it half asleep if I had to. They're so good. And like being able to really walk them through and having the luxury of this little tiny class of, if they heard that I called them cutie patooties because they're all young adults, right? But to me, everybody under 30 is just a baby. So it's so much fun to try to bring that knowledgeable but relaxed vibe, because I just don't think it's worth getting twitchy about.
I love it. I mean, it reminds me, it reminded me of, I've been doing some work lately. I want to start blogging about food. I have never been a cook. Like, we joke, my husband cooks really lovely, wonderfully plated meals. I just keep people alive. But now, that's it. That's like my whole theme of my life. But I've started doing things that, if I'm mildly curious about it, this goes along with the courage type of thing that I was telling you about, being a little bit more brave. If I'm mildly curious about it, I'm just going to try to do it. And so I made Madeleines. Why? I bought fancy pans. I saw on TikTok some Aperol Spritz. And I was like, what are these things? So instead of going and ordering one, I bought everything and I had invited friends over and started making them. So like, that's the type of thing that I mean, like things that cooking is a big thing for me because I don't know. I'm not good at it.
If you ever get hung up, just reach out. I have people that will still reach out to me from 10 years ago and say, we once made this thing. And I'm like, yep, got it. Here's the recipe. Let me know if you need help. But I love that you're doing that. It's a certain amount of letting go to be able to do it.
It's all about challenging yourself, like, and just taking on,
It is.
like I've never done this thing before. It makes me a little nervous. So I know nothing about this and I'm, 50 years old. How do I know nothing about this? And so it's like, well, I guess it's about time to learn about it. Like, so
yeah.
all of this.
I've got a new one for you.
Yeah.
All from Cheats. I've got a new one for you. Have you ever tried a Hugo spritz?
No, but I feel like I've heard it. No.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty sure it's got elderflower in it. And I don't know why. I don't like anything floral. Boy, do I love elderflower liqueur. A Hugo spritz is elderflower, baby. And it is, it's summery, right? Like right now, I like things that have a bit more, I would say, a base note, right? Like some depth to it, some umami to it. But this is just the Saint Germain and mint, and smush it together, add some ice, Prosecco, and soda water, and that's it.
Oh my gosh.
But it's, hello, delicious.
I'm going to try that. Yeah, I just try everything now.
That's
my whole life. That's my whole mantra now. Sure.
I love that. All right. So if somebody wants to find you, where are they going to find you?
So they can find me at pursuitofitall.com. There is, and if you go there, I'm very findable. You just Google me. Unfortunately, I have an open book, just so way too much. But pursuitofitall.com. And then we have Instagram. Not rocking the TikTok yet, but I'm trying. I certainly stalk the TikTok. But
I do too.
I stalk it like crazy.
No, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous for me. I'm like, who are you?
I know.
Just stop that baloney.
The word
Just
of the
stop
word.
it.
But so you can find me there. And I'm like I said, I'm going to be trying a whole bunch of new things just for the sake of the art with quotes, air quotes, that journalistic, like just intent. I just would like to figure it out.
Maybe if anybody had suggestions for after they read some of your stuff, right, to catch your vibe, which is delightful. Maybe they can give you a suggestion. But I'm gonna put all of Jen's information in the show notes so that you guys will be able to just do a little click and you'll be right there and be able to read. You are a wonderful writer, so being able to write some of your stuff and all of that. So I think you're amazing. Thank you for taking the time. And you said this was your first podcast.
It is. I'm so nervous.
We're no.
Us talking over coffee somewhere is very different than me putting on a pair of headphones and trying to not sound ridiculous. So
you feel so snazzy.
I do, actually.
You do feel a little snazzy, right? Make sure you take a selfie of yourself looking snazzy.
Oh, I think I'm going to. I can't wait to text my parents and be like, I just recorded a podcast. She'll do that and make care.
Well, I got to tell you, when you decide you're ready to do your own, let me know and I can help you along with it. It is just so much darn fun. It really is. And it was part of, like you said, kind of I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Right? That's how, like, the menopause meal plans. I'm just going to do it. Right? It's like, well, I'm just going to do it. Why not? So I love that that's where you are.
Oh my gosh. That's so fun.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for the opportunity, Chris. It's great.
Oh my gosh. I appreciate you so much. So everyone, the lovely and talented Jen Gerlock, and take a listen, check out the show notes. And as always, I'll see you in the kitchen.